This video contains minor spoilers for Death Stranding 1, 2, and all of the Metal Gear Solid games. There's also a 1-minute section of ultra spoilers for Death Stranding 2, but don't worry, I'll let you know when it's coming up. So this video is about media and literature from the past 20 years. But I'd like to focus on the man himself, Hideo Kojima, because I think his entire career personifies the idea to be silly is to be free. Hideo Kojima is undeniably a legend, but you can't deny his work is a little weird. And explaining Hideo Kojima games, especially Death Stranding, to people who have never played it, have them scratching their heads, and we normally end the conversation with them being like, right, okay. And then I'm like, no, I promise it's amazing once you get your head around it. But yeah, Kojima moments, with or without context, are a little silly, I'll give you that.
I'm not done yet!
But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with being silly. Death Stranding, for example, is a pretty depressing experience as a whole, especially the first one. The opening of the game is horrific and bleak, a perfect taster for the world you're about to walk through for the next 50 hours. Take a deep breath, and get ready to endure the dreary journey you're about to embark on. Oh, and on the way, be sure to do some deliveries for Conan O'Brien, who is wearing an otter hat. I don't know. Let's talk a minute about the title of this video. To be silly is to be free. It's a phrase I've lived my whole life by. Here's a great example. The Matrix is a certified classic, one of the most iconic and influential films of all time. But if we're being completely honest, it's definitely a very silly movie.
Holy shit!
But when I was younger, and even now, this is totally badass. When we first got together, I forced my girlfriend to watch The Matrix, and she had been told by my whole family that it's one of the best movies ever made, blah blah blah. And it was probably about here when she stopped and said, "What the fuck even is this movie?" Definitely not a hit, but 5.5 years of trying to get her to watch it again finally convinced her to sit down and try it, with the idea that if you accept that it's a little silly, then you might actually get immersed in the experience. And she liked it. She found herself liking the cool moments that in reality are a bit silly. Like, Keanu flexing the dust off of him makes me laugh every time, because it's so stupid, but it's also the single coolest thing Neo does in the movie. Anyway, back to Kojima games. Every single one of his games is absolutely bonkers. But if you let yourself not take life too seriously, I think even the weirdest Kojima moments won't turn you away. Okay, the next minute or so has spoilers for the ending of Death Stranding 1, 2, and Metal Gear Solid 4. Skip to this time code to avoid spoilers. Ready? Okay. Well, for a generation of gamers brought up on serious titles, realism, and grit, how do you explain that having a boss fight with Higgs at the end of Death Stranding 1, where it goes Mortal Kombat style with health bars at the top of the screen, is actually badass and not completely out of character? Or at the end of Death Stranding 2, where you fight Higgs for the final time with his electric guitar axe that shoots lightning, and you've brought your own one, and have a fight with the health bars and everything. Then, Higgs stops the fight to play guitar, and the health bars turned into sound visualizers, and you both shred on the guitar before going back to beating the shit out of each other. And it's one of the funniest, coolest, and most memorable moments I've ever had in my entire life of playing video games. And it all feels like a reference to the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, where Solid Snake and Liquid Not Liquid Ocelot fight on the top of Outer Haven, and the camera and fight style changes as the fight goes on, referencing the past boss fights of the series. Oh, and also they kiss and hug each other. Now, to a fan, this is the coolest thing you'll ever watch. But someone who knows nothing about these games will probably say, who the fuck even is Kojima, and who's letting him do this? Okay, spoiler time over. Where were we? Right. Weird Kojima moments. Well, actually, the weird thing is how normal scenes like this are to a fan of Metal Gear, or how this scene is completely normal to a fan of Death Stranding. It's all about establishing the tone straight away. And back in 2004, this was completely badass! Like I said in the spoiler section, we have a generation of gamers and movie watchers who have grown up on the gritty realism era of the 2010s. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, Batman turned from this to this. James Bond turned from this to this. And Superman is evil now, and even Metal Gear Solid turns to its darkest entry in 2015. This came at the end of the hyper-patriotism era following 9/11, as movies and video games sought to be realistic and grounded as we entered the end of the first decade of the 21st century. And all of the colour was replaced with yellow and brown. And you can pinpoint the era too. GTA 4 in 2008, the darkest entry in the series at that point and probably ever. Gears of War, Modern Warfare, Spec Ops The Line, Resident Evil 5. The late 2000s and early 2010s was so brown. Being born in 2003, yes, I'm still a baby, but I've also reached Unk status for the new gens. This was the era I grew up in, and thankfully, I grew up watching the campiness of the late 20th century, thanks to a family of movie lovers. But I didn't escape the early 2000s ultra gritty realistic yellow revisionism unscathed. I mean, one of my hyper-obsession movies when I was a kid was Saving Private Ryan. Yes, it's from 1999, but I grew up with every movie striving for realism, so anything that fell into that bill is what I started to look for. Obviously, this is slightly hyperbole. Not everything was like this for 20 odd years, but it definitely felt like this vibe dominated most of the literature I grew up with. Anyway, it feels like in the past 5 years or so, media has had the freedom to take itself less seriously, especially video games. 2023's Game of the Year award was a coin toss between Alan Wake 2, that features the main characters doing a dance number, and Baldur's Gate 3, a game where you get to fuck a bear. We really are in the best timeline. In 2019, the world saw the triumphant return of Hideo Kojima. After the Konami split left both sides bloody and the industry up in arms.
As you noticed, Hideo Kojima is not here with us tonight, and I want to tell you a little bit about that. Mr. Kojima had every intention of being with us tonight, but unfortunately he was informed by a lawyer representing Konami just recently that he would not be allowed to travel to tonight's awards ceremony to accept any awards.
Nobody had a clue as to what Death Stranding would turn out to be after Kojima was given full reign to do whatever he wanted. And it's safe to say that he delivered on a game that shook the industry and really wasn't like anything else out there. But of course, because it's Kojima, Death Stranding is weird, campy, silly, and over the top. But I think that's what we needed, especially in 2019, after COD returned with a vengeance with their most grounded, realistic title yet, where there's a waterboarding minigame. But yeah, I don't have any words either. COD has an obsession with torture. Watch Jacob Geller's amazing video on it. So if I could sum up the first 5 years of the 2020s in media, I feel like the best example is the return to silliness, and the return of colour. James Gunn's control of DC brought comic books to life more than ever before. Video games have colour again, and new ideas and the freedom to be silly. And don't forget the rebirth of the family game. It feels like 5 people sat around a TV playing Nintendo has never been more popular. The kids of today are growing up with their favourite characters in Fortnite. They're fishing and gardening in Animal Crossing. Their superheroes are heroes again, and Barbie is back to tell them the meaning of life. You get the idea. And of course, not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Some of my favourite games and movies of all time are dark and depressing. But it's so nice that it feels like we've escaped the obsession for everything to be dark. COVID was tough for everyone. We started a new decade scared and uncertain. It felt like the world was ending for a while. And as we finally emerged from our bedrooms and felt the sun on our faces again, it felt like the world was ready to inject fun and colour back into their lives. So you can imagine my excitement. The industry-leading King of Weird, Hideo Kojima, drops Death Stranding 2 in 2025, and it's one of the silliest and most creative games I've ever played. This is what happens when you give someone who knows that to be silly is to be free enough money to do whatever the fuck he wants. And shock to nobody, it's one of the best games of all time, just like the first one. Okay, yes, I am a little biased. I like weird art. But it's so incredibly exciting that the creativity that has been almost entirely exclusive to indie developers for so long, not constrained by publishers wanting to fit with industry norms. This is finally being seen in the enormous titles that everybody sees. And if more of the biggest names in the industry let loose, like Sam Lake, Hideo Kojima, and Sven Vinke, I think the future of video games will end up looking very bright. So, don't take yourself so seriously, and thank you very much for watching. Okay, before we actually go, I need to talk unscripted for a minute here. You guys absolutely blew No Respect for the Dead up, like completely. I was not expecting it to get any more than 100 views at the very most. It's currently sat at 24,000, which is... I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. When I first uploaded it, I was on 130 subscribers. As of right now, I'm almost at 1,100. I don't really know what to say other than thank you. The outpouring of love and support and feedback and even criticism is much appreciated, and I couldn't be more excited to have that from all of you, positive and negative. It's just exciting to talk with people. It's exciting for people to see the work that I've put into this. I'm so excited to share more with you. I have like 10 videos planned that I can't wait to show off. So thank you very much for watching this and watching No Respect for the Dead. And I will see you again very, very soon, I promise.